jersey and a pair of training shorts. So to buy them, get them at the canteen, ask for the 70s Club, about $100 ticket.
12, get square, hold here. Hold, go, 2. Andrew right now! Hold, hold James, hold, go 3, one more. Andrew, James, we're here. Hold. Go, yeah, mate. Inside! No touch, not touch, no touch, no touch. On the 50, mate. Thanks, mate. We'll go start the goalie. Yep. Holding on the line, don't go away! Jimmy, straight up! Hold, go, 1. One more, next one, Jackson. 11, stand, Eden, hold. Hold, go, 2. 8, off the ball! Matt, we're here. Hold, hold, go, 3, good there. 11 to the side! Make it, Jimmy, hold! Go. And the back play on. Play on. Get him up now, last tackle! Hold! Go, Matt, you're early. Good now. You good, that's okay. Thank you. Surrender! Stand! Hold! Go, 1. Jake! Good now, mate. Up now, 9, Jake, hold here! Hold, go, 2. And now 8! Marking square, James, hold! Go, 3. Up together! Up there! Hold 11. 4. Up now, 10, last tackle! Out! Is it? Nah, restart it. Yes, on. Yeah. Hold. Go. 1. Hands away. Get square. Hold 8. Go 2. Straight. Move. Hold here. Hold. Go 4. He's held! Last tackle, release! 8, hold here. Marky's hold! Go 4. Fast. On side, offside. Blue guys there, but yeah. Hang on. 5. Lock on, play on! 0, stand! Yeah. Hold here. Hold. Go. Get the extra step on that 10. Don't hold him, Jimmy, hold! Hold it. Good on, Chase on. Yep. Backward! Heads away, 5! Hold! Go, 1. Play on. I'm now 5 and square! Hold here! Go, 2. And on ball. Behind him, Andrew. On the line, fella. On him. No. Tap it now. Go. Up now, Jimmy, against square. Hold. Go, 1. Jackson, hands away. Hold. Go, 2. Back play on. Just 10 in the middle, mate. He's creeping up on you. 10 creeping up on you. On the line, yours! Hold it, 3 foot. 3 foot. Andrew. James. Yep. Go. Go, that's 1. Play on! Keep going. Stand, Jimmy! Hold! Go, 1. Hold! Release him! Hold the line! Go. 1. Hold the line! Go. Hold! Release! Hold! Go, 4. Play on! Still 4! Go! Go. West! Change over! On that cross there, Zach. With your foot! No, no touch. James, up now! Hold. Hold, Zach! Go, 1. You're off, 17! 17, went your way early, mate. The mark's up here, Matt. Yep. Oh, yeah. You pass up. Oh, that's cool. One more. There you go. Alright, with your foot. Up now, 11! Hold! Hold! Play on! Go, 0. Jimmy up now! Look in the hole, go, 1. Forward. Gotta be louder, Tom. 11, hands away! Hold! Go, 2. Lock in square! Hold! Justin, hold! Go, 3. What's that? At the back. Good. Thank you. Go! Play it! Go. 3 and 17, 3 and 17. Oh, you got to score, say it a couple of times, right? Okay. Not back, just keep calling it to the corner. Yeah. Yeah. You ready to go? Alright. Stay behind it! Down. Contact. Play on. Contact. Okay. Off the ball, Sam! Go, 1. Go, 2. Go. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, mate.
That's right, a Collegian got Jack started in Brooklyn. Collegian 4.
You might not hear that first one. Yeah. Good start, mate. Yeah, just keep it up. Your pattern's looking good. Thanks, mate. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks, mate. Let's get you to clean that well off his leg when he's done. Just do it a quick wash. Hang on, I need your water, that's all. No? Yeah, keep it talk up, boys. It's going well. Yeah, mate. Stay behind, please, fellas. Coming to you, Will. Come on. Kick's good. Play on. Contact. Okay. Hands away, 12. Trying to get here. Hold. Hold. Go 1, 11, you're early. Good now, good now. 11 straight up! Go right. Hold! Go, 2. Wait off. Up 25. Go, 3. Now, get square! Right, left. Hold! Go, 4. Hold, go. Back. Good. Move now, Zach! Yeah, hold. Hold! Go, 1. Hands away now! Locking it, hold. Go, 2. Play on. Play on.
Zero coming, zero.
Let him go, let him go. Boys, sit down, mate, sit here. Hold. Go, zero. Touchdown. Hold. Go. Go, two. Go, three. Back.
Knock on, knock on.
Yeah, boy. Alright. I'll tell you when to feed it, mate. Next to your lock, please, mate. Heads in. Ball in. Out. Go. Go, Starkey. Yes. Go. Hold the ball. Oh. He's right, that's okay. 22 up now. Hold the one. Hold. Go. Play on.
0.
Move 13! Hold out. Go, 0. Hold square. Hold. Go, 1.
Set, mate.
Head to 1. Hold. Go, 2. Move! Good now, 4.
Keep chases on.
10! Move! I call move and you're not letting go of him. Stay behind him, fellas. Mark there.
Boys, come here, ball boys.
I need you to hold, Trent. Go. Off the ball, 9! Oh, go, 1. Move! Hold.
Hold on to him.
Hold. Go, 2. Come in.
Hold it.
Holding it, Collegians! Hold! Go on. Keep going. Up in square markers. Go, 2. Go, 3. Get square 8. Stand! Hold! Go, 1. Move, Kane! Hold. Go. 2. Play on. No, that was 2 in there, Jimmy. Jimmy. On. Okay. Middle. Here we are. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, tap it now. $22 straight away. Hold. Go. 23 off. Good now. 19 heads away. 23. Get here. Go. To the side. 23. Go. 3.
Forward.
4.
On the line, or just short of it.
Next one, please, Matt. I'll tell you when, Matt. Heads in. Ball in. Out. Stand up. Go. 1. Off the ball, 11. Mark is here. Hold 15. Go. 3. Square markers. Hold. Go. 4. Play on.
Yeah, mate. I'll do that. Yeah.
Alright.
Wait for the out call.
Move together. Hold. Go. 1. Hold. Release him. Marcus square. Hold. Go. 2. Hands away. 25. Marcus get square. Hold. Go. 3. Up now. 23. Hold. Go. 4.
0.
Yep. Hands away. Oh, sorry, mate. Hold. Go. 0. Go. 10. Hold. Back in. Hold. Hold. Go. 2. Oh, and move. Hey, come on. What are you doing, Matt? Play on. Hold. That's right. Active. Hold there, Pato. Keep your feet there till the ball's in. Heads in. Yep. Hold. Go. 1. 11 heads away. Hold. Go. 2. Go. 3. Heads away now. Hold it, Sam. Hold. Go. Heads away. Last tackle. Hold. Hold. Go. All good. Rounding, I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Happy.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, talk about it, alright?
Pick it, mate. Yeah. There you go.
All good, mate. The is still looking good. The ruck speed's really good. They're responding really well here. Just keep an eye on your leg pulls, a couple of them, and your flop.
Can you get that, mate? What was that?
Just keep an eye on some.
That's what it was. Just walk the field. Collegians.
No.
Stay behind! Backwards, backwards! Hot sack. Right. 14 up now! 24, hold! Hold! Go, 1. 20, get up! Hold! Go, 2, thread, not square! Good now, mate. Up now, 10! Go, 3, yeah, just get square, Trent. Yeah, mate, marker, you're right. Move! Hey. Nah, you lost control on the table. Lost the control, mate. Go, 1. Play on. Still going. Hands away, Mitch. Off the score, Marcus. Hold. Go 0. 25, hands away. Get straight, hold. Go 1. Off the ball, Trent. Marcus square. Go 2. Straight up, 22. Go 3. Outside. Didn't go. Out of the 20. Long kick, wait.
Players offside still, players.
Wait there, your players offside.
Good.
Up now, 20. Go. Move. Go 1. Jake's not there. Good now, Jake. Away. Go 2. Play on. Inside, play on.
That's fine, all good, mate.
Happy with that contact there.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. I'm avoiding it. Still heavy.
Major sponsor, West Illawarra, part of the Asper Group. KJ Industrial Scaffolding, Kimmy Total Cleaning Services, Benedict Recycling, Unidera Physiotherapy.
You got to try the casket. Yeah. That's be out first.
Fabrication, Connor Steel, Agency Illawarra, Shire Steel, Arthur J. Gallagher Business Barriers, Coca-Cola.
eyes up on this one, Tyler. It's going to come quick at you.
Alright, stay behind. Contact. Okay. Roll away! Hold! Hold! Go, 1. Turn up now! Hold! Hold! Go, 2, 11, you're early. Good now, good now. Straight up! Marcus square, hold! Go, 3, better. Run! 4. Up now, Jake, last tackle! Make it, hold! Go. Outside your line.
Front, 19, 23.
Now!
Good job, mate. Good job.
Not now. Not. He didn't make any attempt to wrap with his shoulder, mate. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh! I'll tell you when I'm ready. You kick it? Alright, behind him.
Don't start that.
On this line, fellas, on this line. With his foot. No.
Play on. Lost it. You happy with the tackle, mate? Yeah.
He didn't get him hard.
No, it's not just second.
I'll see when. Leave it. Be smart. Go for. Touch it. Quick. I'm now 17! Jake, make it. Hold, go, 0. Move, Jake!
Second effort.
No, Jake.
Be careful, they're locked up.
Sounds good. Then move! Hold! Go, 1. Up there, 10! Go, 3.
Release 11. He's caught. He's caught. He's caught.
Last touch. Hold. Go.
Offside.
Up now. 23 hold. Go, 1.
Wait till he's off, mate, alright?
Hands away, 7. Hold. Go, 2. Release him. Hold. Go, 3. Off the ball. Hold it.
He's down, knocking me down.
Happy with that?
Yeah, that's fine. Just a strong tackle.
Happy the ball up, Jake.
Come in here, mate. He's offside. Okay, we're good now, Lockie. Play on.
Play on. Move! Hold. Go, 1. Help! Release 8! Hold. Go, 2. Hands away! Offside! Go.
Ball's down, Happy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Just look for me, yeah. It's easy.
Yep.
Go. Stay behind, please, fellas. Watch it here. That's okay. Up together! Hold! Go, 1. Move now! Hold! Go, 2. Jake, 1. Move! Jake, get here. Hold! Hold! Go, 3. James, off the ball! Hold! Go, 4. Outside, side. Renton!
Eddie behind you. Right. Okay.
I'm now, Mitch! Marcus, hold! Go, 2. Hands away, 15! Play on! Forward! No, I've got it. Move, Sam, move! Side. Happy.
All good, mate.
Go, mate.
No, all good, mate, all good. I'm tighter, so you can watch that post there. Okay. We're getting in a good flow now, so let's keep that up. You got anything?
Stay behind! Jimmy, get square! Hold him, Mitch. Hold! Oh, one more, Jackson. Hold! Go, free.
Forward!
Hey. Boys. We're going to have a scrum here, yeah? That's what starts the next team. That's what sits down. Alright? Clear it up now. We'll do it. We're speed for the forward pass.
We've got to play down first, Lockie.
Righto. Time's still off. Game stop. Time's off. Sorry, guys. Good. Alright, guys, back in.
Yeah,
Right. Heads in. Ball in. Time on. Out. Releasing 12. Make it. Hold. Go. 1. Heads away, Andrew. Hold. Go. Up now! Marcus, get square! Hold! Go, 3. Play on. Move! Yeah. Go, 4. Straight away, 18, last tackle! Go. 6, good, chase on. On it before the line, mate. Keep behind it. Stay behind. Alright, contact. Fine. Hold! Release 18! James, release him! Hold! Go, 2. Hold, go, 4. Back, play on. Play on. Last tackle, Andrew! Up now, 6. On the line! Hold that 6. 11, early. Get square, hold, Jackson, hold! Go, 1. Hold! Take it! Go, 2. Move, Justin! Hold! Move now! Go, 4. No. Heads away, last tackle! Hold! Go! Inside!
11's in front.
Jake Fitzgerald! You good now? Yep. Heads away! Make it out. Hold! Go, that's 1. You're going right around the face there, mate. Right around the face. Behind him, hang him up there.
Just haven't got to the coach.
Backwards! Heads away now! Go! Hey, get out of there! Hold on! Hold! Go, 4. Play on. Backwards off collars to be a goal line. on.
That's all right, that's all right.
Marcus gets there. Hold. Ready, roll away. Hold. Go, 2. Hold. Get square.
2-7.
Hold. Release it, Jimmy. Next one. Heads away, Jimmy. Go.
I'm happy with that, yeah, mate. You got it?
Yep.
Got to push now, okay? Only 10 to go. Let's push into it, yeah? Only 30. Keep going. Don't drop it.
Yeah, very good. Keep the talk up, boys. It's going well.
Come on, mate. Hey? Just let us know when it's coming.
Yeah. Walking in. Kick.
No.
No. Stay behind, please, fellas. What's contact here? Okay. Man, off the ball! Oh, 1. 23. Off the ball, right! Marcus square! Go 4, 3, early!
Saves on.
Kick it through! Up now, 16! Oh, go, 1. Move, 18! Marcus, lock in! Go. No, Andrew, number 18, around the head. Around the head. Yep. Mark damage. We're going, Andrew. Go, 1. They're good here. Heads away, 18! Oh! Go, 2. Legs. Up now! Play on. He's short there! It's up. Tackle. Wait for him. Wait. Tackle. Play on. No touch. Setting up 20.
We're not running, mate. We're not running.
Get up, baby! Go. Oh! 1, 6, 0.
Wait,
13!
go now.
1, that's fine.
Fine.
2. Go, 3. Leave it! Walk away! 10, get out of it! 10, get out of it! Go away! Hello, take him away! Walk away! Andrew, leave it! Walk away! It's not now, Jimmy. It's not now. Take him back. 5. Back you go. Andrew, take him back to the 40, mate. Back you go. Hey, 5. Oi, go back. 5. Go back. Back to the 40. Back to the 40. 5. Go back. Wait, on the 40. 25, walk away! Go back. Back on the 40. We're not doing anything until you're on the 40. Too young. Alright. I've got 23 coming in with a swing arm. Starting all that. Yeah. Swing the stick. Yeah. Have we got any punches? No punches. Yeah. Hold on. We'll take off. Andrew. Yeah. Andrew. No, it's silly. I'm going to deal with what happened with the hands right now. What I need to do, if it starts to retaliate, that's when your guys end up in the bin. Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. I need you to control your plays. And that's what I'm going to deal with now, Andrew, okay? Back you go. 23! Jimmy. 23. Penalty's on against you for the swinging arm. That's what started everything. You can go for 10. No, not now. I'm going to tell you something now. Okay. Jimmy, that's what started everything. Yeah, I know. Yeah. We're going to play footy now. Yeah. I spoke to you that from over there. Yeah. What started everything was that. We have no more of that. That's how we play footy. Swing up. That was. Play on. I did. What are you doing, Junior? Wait there. Chicken.
How do I make that ref? Yes, make it.
Go. Oh! Oh! Got it. Big hands away! On the line! Evan, move! Oh! Got 3. Tackle! 6. Hold. Go 1. Jake, move! 4, get square! Hold. Go 2. Heads away, Jake! Hold. Go 3. Up now, Jake! Hold. Go 4. Up now, last tackle! Hold ya, hold. Go. Offside, 10, 10, 6! Play on. Play on. Well, move! Hold. Hold. Go 1.
Big hold here, mate. Big hold.
Move! There! Hold! Head away! Go 3. Hold! Go. Tackle! Hold! Go. 3 in front. 3. Hold on, he's held there, he's held! Hold! Go 1. Hold! Release him! Hold! Move 12! Hold! Go 1, Jake, Jake! Good now, good now! Want to move! Hold! Go 3!
Jake in the middle's off still, on now. Play on, keep going.
Go 4! Play on!
Still going.
Play on! Play on! He's short, last tackle!
Up now, Collie.
Touch! One there! Hold! Go 1, yep. Up now! Hold! Go 2. Stand Trent! Hold! Hold! Go 3. Play on! Move! Hold! Go 4.
Wait, go.
Inside!
They're on side.
Round 10. Move now, James! Take it, Jake, hold. Need you to hold. Hold! Go 1. Jake, stand! Give him room! Hold! Go 2. Move! Go 3.
Play on.
Oh, 4, up! Grapple! No, play on, go 4. Last tackle! Go. All good.
40 on the
Hey?
minute 40 on the clock is on.
Yeah, mate.
Both deep or what?
Yeah. I'll let us stay there. Stay behind! Backwards, off his leg, play on. Jimmy, play on, play on! Go one, play on! I don't think so. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Thanks, boys. Jimmy. Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys. Thanks, mate.
Oh, we don't see it. You can, but we didn't see it, so we can't. Yeah, all good.
With the mixer, do we need to do any, or does it need to be?
I'll plug it in and I'll plug the rest in my phone, but if you'll let me do it,
They're all set. Oh, yeah, and I should get the job. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were on your... Yeah. And then listen back.
Yeah, I did that last year. I did that in the first game last year. I did it solo.
Yeah.
Said, oh, good call. I went back and just watched to see how it all was. And I was going... And I'd go back over the highlights.
How are we looking? I'll just check this out. I'm not getting any of this. You can start.
Good afternoon. Welcome to a very breezy Parish Park for this blockbuster clash between competition leading West Devils and the second place Collegians Collie Dogs. A hotly anticipated one. Next door neighbours, we can see Collegians Sports Centre as a backdrop to this one. The trees blowing around, going to be an absolute nightmare for the men at the back, you would think. As we see Collies making their way on it to the park now. Heartbroken the last time these two sides met, a 1-point win to West that day. Late field goal to Zach Green. They'll be looking to atone in this one. We'll await the arrival of the host. Collies coming into this one, 6 games back-to-back. In the victory column, they've strung together coming into this one. West, of course, upset at this ground 3 weeks ago at the hands of the then last place Dapto Canaries. That resurgence continuing. Put them on the track to 3 straight. Pretty handy bounce-back performances from the Devils in their next 2. Won their last 2 by a combined 64 points, so doing it very nicely as they make their way onto the park. Led out there by Justin Rodriguez, the skipper, or the regular skipper Mitch Porter, not there today. Picking up an injury, so it is a bit of a new look centre pairing. We'll get things underway. And as I said, my regular offsider, the voice of the North, Johnny Pett, is in the North today calling the Thirroul Dapto game, so it is my great pleasure to introduce the voice of the South. It is Hammer time, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Hammond.
Jeno, great to be here for this top of the table clash between genuine premiership contenders, West and Collegians. Both sides with a couple of players missing. Most notably for West, the skipper Mitch Porter, a big blow today, and Colby Pello as well. So they're missing a bit of strike, but they've got plenty of depth and looking forward to seeing it today. So West, get us underway to the northern end of Parish Park, and it'll be Collegians with first use of the football, and carting it back is Jake Wood, and he makes some good metres off that first hit up, 28 metres out. A blustery day, isn't it?
Big fella, absolutely. It is blowing around out there. It's going to be a tough one for the kickers. Both these sides, they're so good at jumping out of the block, starting well, and they both look on their game early on in this one.
They certainly do. Dow with that hit up there, 10 shy of halfway. A good first set for the Dogs, as now out of dummy half, the elusive Paul Roberts in that 9 jersey. No, Joel Holdsworth, notably, he's a big blow to the Dogs. That injury he suffered a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, the broken leg, that would have been a tough one to swallow for Coach Nathan Feen there. He's played around with his dummy halves a little bit this year. Paulie Roberts, very handy there in the 9. He's got Brodie Rigg coming off the bench, who's been pretty good the last couple of weeks as well. So, bit of an embarrassment of riches there for Feensy, but we touched on it through the week in the Taste of Steel podcast. It's still an area they haven't quite settled on. And probably on the other side of the coin as well, at West, we've seen a few different number 9s there too. So, both these coaches still probably looking for that perfect formula ahead of the finals.
It's such a key position, isn't it? And I noticed today Zach Green, who's very familiar with the halves in that 9 jersey. It'll be interesting to see how he steers things from the ruck today. So West with their first use of the football. the home side, a small crowd in this afternoon, which is a little bit of a surprise for these two neighbouring clubs. And as we mentioned, 1 versus 2, West looking to move a step closer to the minor premiership this afternoon.
Could be that breeze, Ammo. Keep a few people at home, but probably a few more people watching the live stream. I think it's that sort of day. I know Wilco will be watching. Give you another shout out. I mean, Wilco on the couch. He'll have the 4 devices going. He'll have everything.
He's got a great setup down there, doesn't he?
Mate, he's fantastic there.
As
probably got the phone, I reckon, to Johnny Pett at the Thrill Dapto game. Just put it next to me and let it run, mate.
Surely he's giving us the around the ground scores today as they look to kick early through the boot of Pello, but that one's charged down and racing back to get onto that one in the 3 jersey there is Arn Wetherell, who's the brother of Maddie Wetherell, who's scored herself a Dragons jersey.
The superstar.
And I can tell you what, she is an up-and-coming superstar. As that one now goes to the boot, that wasn't played at, so Rodriguez tries to hoof it down that eastern touchline. He finds it out on the full, though.
He doesn't get that wrong too often. J-Rod, it is tough in this breeze, like we said. I don't think that was even actually a charge down, Hammer. I think Blake Phillips was just trying to get out of the way of that one and hit that big buff head and just kept going. So put them on the back foot there. The Devils looking for a kick there and doesn't quite come off for J-Rod. Good field position now for the Dogs.
Yeah, it gives them a great opportunity to really mount an attack here as Dal goes to ground 35 metres out centre of the park. Really impressive Collegians, haven't they, this season? As Roberts goes for a scoot, he gets a quick play the ball as well, and it's Thompson who goes in there, and now it's out to Phillips. Phillips gets out of one, and he surges his way towards the 10-metre mark. A real chance here now with Thompson again, wearing the head tape. He drives towards the line and still going, but he's eventually brought down. They get in there, and there's strength in numbers from West. But they're under pressure here. They're really under pressure as they go short side Boyle, but hands eluding the winger there, Ellis.
I think he was just standing a bit flat there, Joe Ellis, on that side. He had to sort of jump to catch that one. He usually puts it right in the spot. Jared Boyle there on that side, but that one probably past the end run and not quite being where they wanted to be. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to watching that battle play out this afternoon. Young Dixon over there on that side against Blake Phillips. It's very much a master versus apprentice type scenario, but Dixon, he's been outstanding this year coming into the top grade. I think he's been really a standout for this West outfit, and Blake Phillips, we know how classy a player he is, so that's going to be one to watch this afternoon.
It certainly is, and I know you and I both spoke to Zach Blay during the week, and he indicated that the match would be won and lost in terms of the forward pack, so it'll be very interesting to see what the likes of Dylan Laurie, who takes up the football now, have in terms of impact on this game.
I'll tell you what, I look at this forward pack, Hammer, and it starts to look very formidable. You've got that man with the football rank more, and it looks like maybe a bit of a stink in the background. Dylan Laurie involved, well, there's a surprise, but that man, he's back from suspension as well. Nathan Leatinganga, last year's man of the match in the grand final, also coming back into the side last week, so starting to really look formidable up front, the Devils, and we've seen this youngish pack, although there's a fair bit of experience in there as we look at it at the moment coming up for the Dogs. They've been looking for a test like this as well, so it's absolute mouth-watering battle in the middle this afternoon.
And both sides, while they might be missing a little bit of strike power out wide, there's still plenty of talent. As now West get their first opportunity to mount some points this afternoon, and Rankmore hit and spin there and eventually brought down. Told to go back and play it on the mark.
Play the ball there, tackle one.
Now they shift it there, and it's Hanbury to Rodriguez, who finds there in the 12 jersey that man Dixon that you were talking about just a minute ago, and Green looking to scamper out of dummy half. Only makes a couple of metres, but it's good.
I might be happy with that one, Collegians. They pride themselves on their goal line defence, and it was a good shift from the Devils, but didn't throw a whole lot too much fancy at them, just stripped them for numbers, and they cross in the corner.
Fantastic wingers finish by Mitch Barbudo. That'll please Pete McLeod. Starts are so important in these big games. Saw Collegians get off to an absolute flyer last week against Dapto, and that proved the telling factor in the end.
Yeah, you're right, Hammer, and they do start so well, Collegians. If you come in and you're off your game, they will jump you from the start, and it looks like West and Pete McLeod really attuned to that one. They've come out of their blocks firing themselves. Both sides are just coming in there. You can just sense it's a big game, can't you? I said through the week, every time one of these heavyweight sides has met, the Rural Collies, West Collies, those sides, every time they've met this year, it's been the blockbuster, and each one's gone up a level on the one before. I think we're going to see that this afternoon.
Well, we saw a field goal separate the sides last time. It was this man with the ball on the tee, Zach Green. A tough assignment first up. A metre in, 21 out on this southwestern touchline. He's got it going towards the left. He can't get the breeze to bring it round. So the score remaining 4 points to nil, but a great start by the Red Devils.
Indeed it was. Wasn't that a strange one? It's like the wind just stopped on a dime there when Zach Green poor kickers this afternoon, trying to judge the distance there on that one. He got a fair heave. Let's be honest, distance is never going to be a factor there for Zach Green. He can heave it a mile, but yeah, he's going to be tough kicking today, but a good start nonetheless. 4-0 the score.
So that's a tester, and making absolute peel of it was Rodriguez, but he recovers and he hits it up like a big front rower, brought down 10 metres out. Probably felt he had to make up for that little howler.
Mate, that sun, you could just see it was right in his eyes. And with that ball swirling around in the sun, it's going to be tough. I don't think that's the last kick you'll see go up into that corner.
But I'm sure as a number 7, he'll be very pleased with just how tough the conditions are here for the back three. And another penalty going the way of the Red Devils. Offside the call. They're eager, the Dogs. They're hungry, but a little too eager on that occasion.
Yeah, it's the exuberance of youth, you can call it. I think it was Paulie Roberts there getting up just a little bit too quick. And this is what's key. This was a key factor when these two sides met earlier this year. Hammer, discipline from both sides was quite poor, and it kept allowing the other one back into the game. We said on the call in that one, the first team that could get that area of their game right will probably kick ahead. And it sort of happened in seesawing fashion in that one, but it's going to be key this afternoon.
So up to halfway, the Red Devils leading 4 points to nil as they head out to the right with Hanbury out to Rodriguez, I should say. And now look at the pace man just chiming in on cue, Tony Pello. He doesn't have his brother today, but he is a man to watch. He's Mr. X Factor as far as the Red Devils are concerned.
He's triple X Factor. Tony Pello, he's more than just X Factor. An absolute spark plug. Enjoy to watch.
Blade plays it 25 metres out as this time they go to the left. Hanbury short to Laurie, and Laurie takes the attention of two tacklers there. It was looked like
got his start on the wing over the last sort of season and a half, and I thought it was a big show of faith from Nathan Thiem to give him the one at the start of the year, but geez, he's repaid his coach.
A lot of these players from Collegians in that unbeaten reserve grade premiership team, as now they make a break on the far side with Manton. Now Manton looking for support.
That should be a penalty, I don't know.
But he gets the ball away instead, and they will score a try. Streaking away, Jai Ellis in that southeastern corner.
Brad Manton, the way he just skipped to the outside there, geez, he's got fast feet. He's been the best centre in the competition this year. Without a doubt, he's always in that conversation, but out there, weather on that side was going to have it all to do all afternoon, and we saw why there. He burst into the clear, and I was staying on the run. Jai Ellis was streaking away. Justin Rodriguez was getting left to dead, so he just gave him a bit of a tug on the jumper. I think he was willing to gamble on that one, but Jai Ellis good enough to finish in the corner and the quick hit back.
4 points all. Jai Ellis, a great strike rate too. That's his 4th try in 5 games. And, well, a good hit back. Nathan Thiem will be pleased with the way they have struck back so quickly. We've had 10.5 minutes. And a little concerning the way they were cut open down that edge.
Won't be the last time they go to that edge. They're very left side heavy at the best of times. You can see Jared Boyle playing on the edge. You're going to go to him as much as you can. He's got Brad Manton, an absolute weapon there on the outside. Interesting to see here, Jack Cross, he spends his time on this side, and through the season he forms any guide. He's probably a better chance of knocking this one over the one that was about 15, 20 minutes in. He's got a knack.
So often the way, isn't it?
Sideline. He's got a knack of nailing the really, really tough ones.
And
maybe he's one of those players. He's good off the tee, and the short game can be hit and miss.
One of the bigger halfbacks going around in the competition, so you expect him to have no problems with the distance. He's got a big boot, but I'll tell you what, he has a lot of problem with the distance. He's absolutely shanked it. And so the score remains 4 apiece.
I think it's going to be very hard to kick goals at that end. The breeze is sort of going right to left on your screen. Swirling around everywhere, but it does seem to be favouring the Devils a little bit in this half. Can make it tough for all the kickers.
Well, they're two of the better defensive sides, but we've seen probably enough so far to suggest that there'll be plenty of points this afternoon.
Certainly the best two defensive sides, in my opinion. One and two defensively, a big factor in that for mine.
So Wood plays the football 15 out, and they go to this left edge where they've had success already this afternoon, and as Mitch Jennings said, this entire season. So Boyle, he's got even less room to work with there, but he liked what he saw, and he's to within 9 of halfway. We've only had 3 tackles in this set. The Dogs, they love rolling up their sleeves and getting out of trouble. Dowell with the football as they go towards halfway. It's Wood again. Good territory. They finish their set. They'll be looking for a good kick as it goes now to Phillips, and Phillips picks out the winger. Well, I tell you what, I don't think kicking's his forte.
Was that the plan? They're practicing that all week. 2 to the scrum line for Buffer to put the kick in. We'll see. Didn't quite come off the way they were hoping for, I think.
They might be putting that back in the toolbox, that one. Picking out... just having a look who that was there on the other one. That would have been Morrissey, I think it was. So they're 19 now within halfway, the Red Devils.
Mind you, in the conditions, probably not the worst. Kick nice and low and just make them bring it back. So a little bit early when he had the ball on the tee, like we said, distance is never a problem for him. He can heave the ball a mile effortlessly, and he did that there. And he's even more dangerous as a kicker, I think, in the sense of the 40-20 at dummy half. It's very hard to pin down where he is and where the kick's going to come from. And I'm sure it would have been on Nathan Thiene's tip sheet to watch out for it, because he's very thorough there, but just caught napping on that side, Collegians, and the hit back.
But getting back there to save the day was Jared Boyle. Who else?
I thought Morrissey was a bit slow on that one, Hammer. The kick went in behind. Perhaps he was standing deep and expecting the pass. Geez, he had that on it. He weighted that beautifully, Tony Pello.
If anything, maybe took a little bit of a leg break away from the winger that gave Boyle that time to get back and save the day, only just for the Dogs. 14 minutes has expired in this one.
Could be a bit of a reminder for Alec Reid. He's got to be awake to the kicker. So many kicking options in this side. Hanbury, Rodriguez, Green, obviously a dummy half, and then Tony Pello can also put the ball on the toe pretty handily as well. So it's a tough task for the fullback this afternoon.
You certainly earn your paycheck if you are in that number 1 jersey.
7 hold.
So Zach Blade plays it as they go to the short side, and Cole Lodge now 25 metres out.
Lock in 13 hold. 9.
The Red Devils looking ominous. Rodriguez taking it to the line. He finds Hanbury. Hanbury out the back there, and now Bounces away from the first up tackle, but manages to, with good leg drive, make it extra 5 metres. Mitch Jennings, they had numbers galore out there.
Yeah, we talk about how good a kicker he is from dummy half. Probably wasn't on there. There was lots of players from Collegians bunched around to play the ball there. There was space probably left and right of the ruck, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt on most occasions, Zach Green, but probably a play he would like to have over again. Good defence. Isn't it a thing of beauty watching the way this Devil size plays shape? It's almost like watching classical music. So you can hear the violins come in every time they shift it left.
You've got some of the other clubs that love playing that hard rock, you know, but like you said, they're just classical, aren't they? When they get it right, their poetry in motion. As that ball bounces down favourably to Tony Pello.
Mind you, Hammer, they've still got some guys you rank more as Illawarras that don't mind just bashing on that bass drum as well. So they've got the whole band out there.
That they do. They're not the reigning premiers for nothing, and they're not the ladder leaders for nothing.
I think that one crept up there, Jake Wood. Paulie Roberts here, just hammering down in back play as well. The penalty is forthcoming.
It is, and it was a good effort there by Will Tamari in the 4 jersey, getting there.
It has to be concerning. He's copped, as good as he's been this season, he's copped his fair share of knocks. Head knocks this year, Paul Roberts. It looks like he might be actually clutching at something else there, maybe a shoulder or another injury, and let's hope that's what it is. Hopefully he's okay, of course. We don't want to see anyone suffer any injury, but looks like he's at least got a bit of a burner through that shoulder. So Brodie Rigg will get injected in this one, probably a little bit earlier than he would normally.
But geez, isn't it nice to have that luxury to bring on a player like Brodie Rigg, who is just like a little energizer bunny. He just provides that spark, and he's got X factor as well.
Indeed he does. He'll be one to watch from close range. Amazing knack he's got of scoring from close range, Brodie Rigg, because you know it's on every tip sheet every week, as Zach Green maybe heard me having a go at his last tackle option play before and tries to dome me with that one up here in the box.
Almost got sconed as Green at acting half, or short side to Laurie, who threw the dummy and looking to come up with a one-on-one strip was crossed, but he couldn't do so. So Green now to Rankball, who plays at the line to his front row partner in Blay, and Blay's 9 metres out. A big chance for West to hit the lead for the first time this afternoon. They go to Rodriguez, who goes out wide there to Pello, who goes to Hanbury. Hanbury cutting back in, almost going under the sticks, but the defence was there at the very last minute. So Green, he skipped to his right, didn't like what he saw, so he takes the tackle. Good defence from Collegians. They get to the 5th and last. One more tackle to navigate. Looking for a penalty are the Red Devils, but told to play the football. Now Rodriguez, that short kicking game, well, a juggle.
Got a touch on that, Manton.
Manton did, and it'll be a goal line dropout.
Would have liked to have that one go. There's such a good edge defensively on that left side. Boyle and Manton, they played a lot of footy together by this stage of where they're at. Good little kick, and they're really building pressure there. The Devils. I'll tell you what, if Brodie Rigg had given away a penalty there for that sort of garbage in front of the post, how quickly would you have the yellow shirt out there just to give him a spray?
30 seconds on the field, and
it was a good set. It was late in the set. They defended so well that you just ping one right in front of the sticks in this breeze. When the score's locked, that'd be a painful video session later in the week.
But they get the next best results. West, a line dropout, and it's Blay who comes
What about that
back.
massive contact? The redhead, mate. This is the thing with redheads. They're carved from granite. Just
for full disclosure, we do have a redhead up here in the box calling this one, so if there's any accusations of bias, you're probably on the money there. But as a nice hit and spin there from Cole Lodge, he's 11 metres out. Green waiting at dummy half. He's got options to his left if he wants to go that way, and it's Hanbury flat at the line at a good ball to Tamari, and Tamari throws it into touch. Barbuto had overrun it, but it probably wasn't on.
I think if Barbuto on this side had been actually hugging the chalk, there was some space out there. He'd held that up well. Tamari. Saxonona, he backs his pace on this side. He's a very, very good defensive centre. He'll show you the outside, a bit in that sort of Justin Hodges mould defensively. He'll show you the outside and back you. But Lucio had just sort of bit a little bit on that one on Tamari, and if Barbudo had just been right on that chalk, there might have been a chance to chalk up his second try there.
Yeah, didn't quite have that trust. And like you said, Barbudo overrunning the football, and Collegians, great defence, it has to be said. That was a real litmus test for the Dogs. So far, so good.
They'll take plenty of confidence out of that, Hammer, to absorb that and come away with the footy. It was a near miss on this side, but they'll grow a little bit off that one.
I notice Spencer on the field in 15 for Collegians. Took that hit up just before as Rigg goes to his left, and it's Thompson. A good solid tackle coming in from Blay and company there, just looking to see who that is. But now it's the Collie skipper and Phillips who goes looking for work up the middle, and he's 5 short of halfway, and that's the 5th and last as it goes back to the boot of Boyle. And
have fun with that one.
My goodness, that will bring down snow on a day like today. Collie's come back up with it. It's still the 5th. Dancing around is Reed, and Reed's finally wrapped up, and that'll be a changeover. So it was a little bit of roulette that West were playing there, but it's come off.
Yeah, it's probably not the kick Jared Boyle was looking for, although it would have been tough to take. I think he was going to try to put that up into that corner with the sun in the eyes and the wind swirling around that we saw Justin Rodriguez battle with the kickoff a little bit earlier. I think that's where he was probably trying to get the ball, but it was a little bit shallow. West good enough to smother Giles on that side and prevent that always dangerous second kick.
Leati Agaga on the field, and as Mitch Jennings mentioned a little earlier, the player of the grand final last year, and back after a brief stint in France, as we see some heavy contact there. Dylan Laurie bouncing out of tackles, and Rigg can't bring him down. Eventually Thompson comes in and finishes the job. 35 metres out for West. It's Leati Agaga out the back to Rodriguez. A little bit of bizarro world out there. Front rower tipping on for his halfback at the line, but it's Leati Agaga showing his ball-playing skills again as they look to go out to the left there as Hanbury out to Tamari, and Tamari's proving a handful, and he loses the football, and a good show of strength from Saxonona to dislodge that football.
Yeah, he's not the biggest centre going around Saxonona, but I just spoke about how good he can be defensively and deceptively strong for not the biggest centre going around, as I said, and certainly outmatched size-wise by Will Tamari on this edge. Some of the best battles I saw through that year Collies won the premiership, Saxonona and Big Keith Lolia, they were great to watch. They were worth the price of admission alone, and this battle on this side shaping up that way.
Would you say
he's got could handle early?
Would you say he's got little man syndrome?
I don't think he's got
the way he plays.
I wouldn't accuse him of that, but perhaps, yeah.
Nothing on, not a knock on his personality. I mean, in terms of his when he hits that or goes over that white line, but he's certainly a joy to watch. And this battle, it's going to be a joy to watch as well, as Collie's come away through Thomas Harris. He'll play it 30 metres out. Rigg, this is where he's at his best, and he picks out the wrong bloke because Laurie said, come here, I've got you. And some good wrestle in the play the ball there as well. Green coming in to help out now as Thompson over the advantage line for Collies. Some good leg drive as well.
Keep an eye on that one there. Zach Green and Brody Rigg coming together again. Those two guys are already making it a contest in the middle, so keep an eye on that one as the game drags on.
Spencer to play at 40 metres out, 5th and last, and they go short side. Boyle wants to give his side a rest, and he'll find the touchline 10 metres out in that southeastern corner of Parish Park.
Smart kick there from Jared Boyle. He just takes the right option so often, and they've absorbed a lot of pressure at this end, Collegians. They've had to repel West a couple of times down this end. They're probably sucking in a few big ones there. So goes into dummy half on his wrong foot on the left foot and just rolls that into touch, and they'll reset. Brilliant kick there from the veteran.
Nice to have that talent. You would have had it back in your day.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Ambidextrous both foot. I missed with both.
16 and a half minutes left in this top of the table showdown until half time. That is 4 points all. And it's been a great start. We had our fair share of nice attacking plays and some really bruising defence as well.
West will want more points here, Hammer. As much as it's 4-4, that try for Collegians came probably against the run of play, a long-range effort. It's been mostly all the Devils other than that play, and they've still got the one try, and they're all level for it. So the way the game has played out, they'd love to just grab a couple of extra points here before half-time.
And given the fact they are running with the breeze in this first half as well, as a nice little play out the back, and it was almost in slow motion. Both sides almost stopping in anticipation of the tackle being made, as now West towards halfway. Rank ball plays it. It's Gaga again at the line and out the back to Rodriguez. It wasn't the greatest ball. He did well to take it. He eventually takes the tackle right on halfway. Fifth and last for West. Goes to Pello. Pello decides to drill it straight down to the winger there, and some nice work by Ellis.
Could he do that again for $1 million? Not a chance in hell. He just
No way.
put out it stuck. It's like when you see they catch it, the slips, they haven't even seen the ball, it just sticks in the mitt. It's exactly what happened there, Jai Ellis.
That could have been...
Of course he'll claim he's practiced that at training, I've no doubt.
Absolutely. I tell you what, that could have been diabolical. Had that come ricocheted off him and straight into touch, would have been West straight on the attack, but instead gets his side out of trouble, and Colley's over halfway. 14 minutes and change left in this first half.
Just counter to that point I made. Hamo, it'll be huge if Collegians on the back of all they've absorbed can grab points here and nudge their noses in front at half-time. They'll be absolutely thrilled, given what they've had to absorb. And that's another good kick there from Boyle, and Alec Reid all over his opposite there, and Tony Pello. Tough take at the back there, but well done to the Devils, number one.
A good kick, maybe just needed a little more hang time for the chase to get under. Pello didn't have to get up off the ground to take that one, but still this is exactly where they want West to be starting their sets.
Certainly bunched around the footy here, the Devils.
Maybe sapped of a bit of energy. Laurie, he's put in a good stint. His second game back from injury. As now that ball goes back to Rodriguez. He's inside the 40, but they're well alert to that, and Reid positioned perfectly. Looks to his winger, but decides, I'm going to take it myself. And he makes some good meters too. He's already to within 10 of halfway.
And that's where you see the arm wrestle. Two back-to-back good kicks from Jared Boyle. And just coming out of their end, they're doing a bit tough there, the Devils. They hit Alec Reid on the full. He brings it all the way back to the 40, and some good ball set to start here for the Dogs. That's how the arm wrestle plays out. Both these sides so good at it, but none better than Jared Boyle.
Jared Thompson playing the football as now Collies get their chance to test this Red Devils defence. Boyle playing flat at the line, and Dow says, get out of my road to... In there, the 12 jersey, it was Dixon, so that's the fifth and last. Ball kicking back for Reid, who steams through. Pello manages to get a deflection off his body and picks up the football, and he'll play it 10 metres out.
Good little trick play there. I've seen them grab the odd four-pointer off that one. Alec Reid, we talked about how good he's become as a fullback this year, and he's been helped along a lot by Jared Boyle. I think because he's getting used to the number one, he's just been told to sit off Boyle's shoulder and he'll help you out. And there's another relieving penalty, and that's just becoming an Achilles heel for them in this one.
It's got to be concerned. It's almost like Groundhog Day, the regularity that West are getting a penalty in that 30 to 40 metre zone up their own end.
It was just as Collegians were starting to mount some pressure of their own. They've been under the pump for most of this early part of the first half. They were just starting to build some pressure of their own there, and then they just relieve it with a penalty like that. It's an absolute coach-killing one there. It was late in the set as well. And he's a man that can punish you with a long touch finder, Zach Green.
And that was a good one. Smack bang on halfway. They'll take the tap with a full head of steam and a false start.
You can't pull the big fella up like that. Just let it play on. He's going to go back and tap it from the same spot. Look at Big Daniel Zoa. He's going to go all the way back to the start and get the engines going again. It's like the QE2 turning around.
And he gets it going, perhaps maybe with not as much gusto as the first time round. So Hanbury at the line to Ligatia Gaga, who's looked dangerous since coming on the park. He's that ball playing option as well, as we've seen. Rodriguez turning it on the inside.
That's all right. Stand now, 13. Stand. Hold. Go. 3.
Ligatia Gaga, one out on that occasion. Didn't look to his back, but they're set to the left here, and this is where they go with Hanbury at the line to out there to looks like Rodriguez maybe flicking the ball up, and a one-handed pickup from Green, who had a little bit of a fumble as he looked to his left. Fifth and last. Hanbury acting half. Quick up off the line to put pressure on Rodriguez. A good kick coming through, and they'll get a repeat set. Boyle there again.
Number 12.
But a penalty coming inside the 10.
Inside the 10 there, and you've got to give a huge rap to this right side defence of Collegians. Hammer, they conceded that early try, and early on looked to be getting all they could handle, but they've made adjustments on the run and really not giving them anything on this edge. Very good work the way they've figured that out, got the combination going defensively on this side, and that was a relieving penalty there. A repeat set turned into a penalty, and they start 40 metres upfield.
Nathan Feen would be, given the circumstances, territory possession against them, the penalties against them, the wind against them. 4 points all, 10.5 minutes left until half-time. If they could hold West and perhaps even take a lead, they would be super, super happy going into the second half. As Rigg thought maybe a little bit of a fumble there as he continues to make inroads. He's 20 metres out. Turnstile tackles from West. They let Brodie Rigg run. Now they go out in the back. An early kick coming through. The chase from Oda. He dots down. And Collies do hit the front.
Beautiful kick there from Jack Cross. We've spoken every week about the fact that he's a back rower, that he's playing in the number 7. But geez, he's come along, particularly in his playmaking skills in the game, particularly over this last month. And he looked every bit the number 7 there. Perfectly weighted kick, and Saxonona Johnny on the spot to nab that one. And just as we said, Hammer, they've been under the pump for most of the half, but they've got their noses in front. You've got to think they'll walk a fair bit taller after that one heading into the break.
And put that down to Brodie Rigg. He made 20 metres off that scoot out of dummy half, and it was almost like he had spiders on him the way he was able to break tackles, got the quick play the ball, and the fullback, I suspect, I'd have to see the replay, but perhaps Alec Reid had to make that tackle. He looked out of position, and there was no fullback at home, and Ona winning the race for the football.
It was Tony Pello at fullback there, Johnny, and I think he might have, like a
sorry,
lot of people,
Tony
probably
Pello,
had eyes on Jared Boyle and Alec Reid floating around on the other side of the ruck there, and just got a little bit caught out on this side by Jack Cross to attempt to add the extras.
So Cross, he's around about 20 metres in, 18 metres out from the southwestern touchline. Yet to see a kick sail through the uprights this afternoon. But this, I think, you'd have to say, has been the easiest of the conversion attempts. So
that's relative. That's a relative term, Hammer, in these conditions.
And he strikes that one beautifully. No mistake there. 10-4, 8.5 minutes left in this first half. That is a crucial try in the context of this game.
Particularly if they can just get a good set on the back of this, get to another good kick. Momentum will really, really have swung back to them if they can get through this set, get a kick on the end of it, and make the Devils have to answer some tough questions coming out of their own end.
So the Red Devils back to halfway. Can they respond? That one, a bit of a mongrel there from Pello, but it does the job. And look at that wind up from Dowell, who's been pretty impressive.
Best front rower in the competition this year, Hammer. I've got no problem saying it. Been outstanding. Plays the 80 minutes up front every week. He actually got a bit of a spell against Dabday last week, which was rare, but just been absolutely outstanding every week for him up front, Josh Dowell. And
Spencer
I've
loses
absolutely
the
put the
football.
block on them there. I said they needed to get to the completed set there, and they've spilt that.
Yeah, James Spencer, it was coming up with that error. Uncharacteristic from the Dogs. They've been good out of their own end.
It's what you always say, Hammer, is why I touched on it just there. Momentum has never fully swung on the back of points until you've completed the set after it. Any coach will tell you that.
It's amazing.
Collies couldn't do it there.
It's amazing how teams can switch off after points. And now West have a chance to capitalise with 7 minutes left in the first half. Hanbury switching it back to Laurie, and that was good defence coming up there from by the man who might have lost the football, I think it was, looking to atone for his error as Tamari goes to within 12 of the line. Can the Red Devils have more success on this attacking foray? Leah Tiagaga now. And they bring him down. Centre of the park. Thompson was in there, and so was Dowell. As they go to the right, Hanbury can't take it. It goes on the bounce to Rodriguez, who looked to his outside and decided, I'll take the tackle. 12 metres out. West realigned to the left. Zohar. A metre out.
Last tackle off the ball there.
This is the 5th. Hanbury. Grubbers through, but it's straight to cross. Good contact coming in,
Put him up.
almost forcing the
In the middle, hold.
goal line dropout. It was Hanbury with the tackle, and an offside penalty, a relieving one for the Dogs.
They put that down to Paul Roberts there. He come up out of the line. Reece Hanbury was deep for that kick, but Paul Roberts came up there, put him under all sorts of pressure, forced him back in field. The kick not the one he was after, and then really released the pressure valve there with that penalty.
And a good touch finder as well. Manton, the architect of Collegians' first try of the afternoon.
Hold here, 15. Hold.
He'll take the tackle. Now Spencer.
Move now. Lock it, 15. Hold.
Boyle playing flat, and he goes to Thompson. A mountain of work for the ever-reliable lock forward for the Dogs in this first half. They're 35 away. Boyle looks to go to his outside. Reed found space on the outside of Rodriguez, but throws an errant pass there, and now West come up with the football.
Reckon he got a call there, Declan Morrissey on that side.
Hands away.
I think he might have. I think he might have, because it was straight on the straight in the bread basket.
It was a good pass, it was just to the wrong bloke.
It was probably up his teammates for the rent, wondering why there were red and blue jerseys out there and none in the black.
Here, hold.
But nevertheless, it's back with the Red Devils.
Lucky not to be
Zohar.
king there. Every one of the Collegians defenders were in front of the referee on that one, Hammer.
So Zohar, a great run. They're within 22 metres of the line, and now it's hit and spin from Blay. He gets away from one, but Riggs in there and gets some help from Paul Roberts as well. 5th and last, 4.5 minutes left in the first half. Rodriguez goes further afield to Pello, who decides to throw the pass. He'll get 6 again, you'd think.
That's a tough moment there for Brad Manton. That pass was really going to no one. Not a lot of danger going on that one, but he's tried to snaffle it, and they'll get out of jail on that one there, West. It sort of broke down for them on that side, but they get a reprieve through the error. But again, it just sensing some frustration in the Devils with how good Collegians' defence has been on their line here. I'd like to see them. It's been very sideways, and we were giving them a rap about how good they look when they throw shape at the opposition, but for mine has been just a tad sideways. Like to see the likes of Pello and those sorts of guys coming back through the middle and testing out some of the big men in the middle. Just been a little bit happy to go edge to edge so far in this one.
And even if the likes of Hanbury and also Rodriguez just straighten and really draw some defence, and then that does allow Pello some space on the outside and also the centre 3/4 as well. It certainly hasn't been the most fluent we've seen the Red Devils, but we know that they can just flick a switch like that.
Well, it did, like I said, look beautiful early on. They were really clicking into gear there, but just some adjustments made on the run from the Dogs' defence and just seemed to be frustrating them into error a little bit here.
A little bit of concern showing for one of the Collegians players.
I think it was Brody Rigg on this side, Hammer.
And now he packs in the scrum.
Make sure we hold now, goal.
3 minutes 49 left until half-time.
Out.
The home side trailing at the moment. Pello! Oh, look at him! There he is! There's the space. He straightens up. Improves the position for Zach Green. And we could be even Stevens in just a few moments.
And you called it there, Hammer. Just some straightening up there. It's, like I said, been a little bit sideways before that play, but beautifully constructed there. And just bringing Tony Pello onto the ball, running straight into a hole. We gave this side of the defence from Collegians a rap for how they'd handle it, but they just got it wrong there, and he only needs half a gap, Tony Pello, when he's gone.
Yeah,
and that's a big try in the context of this one, 3 minutes before half-time.
Absolutely. How often do you see momentum really swing when sides score before half-time? Tony Pello, they just gave him too much space. I think one thing they've done well is they've been up to shut him down, and on that occasion there wasn't the best of line speed, and he straightened up and he picked the gap between two defenders, and it was good night. It was almost, you could tell he was going through as soon as he got that football.
Well, you'll think he backs himself to get through any gap that does come up in the defence there, Tony Pello. Real will-o'-the-wisp type player. It looks like Zane Weatherall's got the
Yeah,
team
Green's off the field. I noticed there. I think it was John Martin coming on in the 14 jersey. Yeah, I can see him in the huddle there. So yeah, it will be Weatherall to attempt the conversion.
He'll be filthy, Greenie, won't he? You give him the kick from the sideline and now he just has a spell and they score next to the post.
Well, it puts the pressure on his deputy here. You'd expect him to put this one between the big white poles. And he's absolutely... Well, he's...
Absolutely nailed it.
He's absolutely nailed it. I don't know, how would you describe that kick?
It might look different on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, but I can vouch for Corey Hammond there. I think everyone up here in this box thought he'd shanked and missed that to the left, but just a direct style of kick. Obviously, that's how he likes to nail them off the tee, but both the flags go up. And we're all square again, 10 apiece, 90 seconds to go.
I think Grady might be limbering up down there. I think he wants to get on just in case they score again before half-time here. A minute 20 left, and West restore parity once again. A blockbuster clash between these two sides. 1 and 2 on the ladder. A win today for West, you'd have to suspect. That's almost the minor premiership. I don't want to put the mocker on the Mitch Jennings, but 4 points and for and against as well. It becomes a tough equation. I know the rules there as well.
I don't think anyone's going to run them down on for and against from where they're sitting at the moment, Hammer, so it is a good point to raise.
Almost.
Jolly Ellis, you letting that go. That was from inside 40, a good kick from Justin Rodriguez, but of course the rule have the game up their sleeve. That was deferred from last week, that game against Corrimal, so there really is a cluster of teams all still around that minor premiership mark.
And that for and against, so there's a lot at stake, and for the Dogs, they want to stay in that race for the minor premiership and that top 2. So the Dogs now with Lucio. Our rig, he sees some space and seizes the opportunity. They're 41 away from the Red Devils goal line. That's the last, and that'll be the siren. Boyle kicks it back on the infield. There's no one chasing through, and that will be thrown over the dead in goal line by Tony Pello. What a half we've seen here, Mitch Jennings. 10 points all.
Yeah, I think Jared Boyle might have given a bit of a wink that people missed on that side. There were no chases going through on that kick, but they get to the end of the set. 10 all the score, and a really, really fair indication of the way this one's played out, Johnny. I can't wait for this next second 40 minutes. We'll be back with that in just a little while. Well, welcome back to Parish Park. We see the Devils making their way back onto the park. 10-all the scores here, with the second 40 minutes coming to settle it all. Some halftime scores around the grounds. The Rule up 12-4 over Dapto at Gibson Park, and in the other one at Zeems Park. Two sides playing for their finals future. Helensburgh up 16-10 over Corrimal in that one. That topsy-turvy battle for the top four continues.
No.
Really hotting up, isn't it? This this battle for the four, and also the battle for the top two.
It certainly is. Like you said before the break, Hammer, this one will have plenty to say in that top two argument. Be interesting to check or see, Hammer, or try to guess at what both coaches would have said. I think probably pretty similar team talks in both sheds, I would say.
Yeah,
what we've done well, we've done well.
Yeah, I think on balance, I think both sides have got to be pretty happy. I think, if anything, prove the discipline a fraction, but we haven't seen the referee blow the pee out of the whistle.
No, it's been well refereed, I'd say, to this point, very, very much so. There's been some penalties, but not many you could argue with. We've been critical of the penalties more for the cheap level of the perpetrator of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all to play for anyway in this second half. Interesting that the breeze still up a bit, but it doesn't seem as blustery as perhaps what it was at one point.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to go up a gear as this one goes on, Johnny, I think. Just that sun disappears a little bit further, and Jared Boyle already trying to play games to that one, putting that one nice and high, and Daniel Zohar steaming onto that one to get us back underway.
Geez, hasn't he been good off the bench? Another big run from this front row forward who only knows one way, and that's straight and hard. Red Devils now up to the 30. First set of the second half. Leatia Gaga, what about that run?
15, stand!
We know he's a big game player, proven and tested on the big stage. Zach Blow.
6, stand! All the way 9. 4.
Hello playing at first receiver. Back to Leatia Gaga. Will really rolling up the sleeves and getting plenty of touches in these get-out sets for West as it goes back to the boot of Rodriguez. There's the big kick. Reed coming, but he balked at the last minute and put pressure on his wing three-quarter there. And rising to the challenge was Ellis.
It's funny, isn't it, Hammer? It always gives you a bit of a heart attack if you're the coach concerned. I think when you get those midfield bombs that do end up sort of in no man's land, letting it bounce usually is their high percentage play, contrary to what a lot of people think, but it always is a bit of a hard stopper because that rugby league ball can bounce in mysterious ways.
Certainly can. You take the odds. Reed just didn't quite back himself in traffic to take that high ball, but it's worked out for the Dogs as they look to get out of trouble in their first set of the second half, and they get a penalty to help them out.
That's an absolute coach killer straight after half time. Good defensive set there from the Devils. They put a good set together with the footy to start the half, and they'd made Collegians have to do some of the hard stuff out of their own end, but that was very late in the set, and a relieving penalty. You just said, Hammer, I'm sure both coaches would have touched on discipline. Well, the message not getting through at least yet for the Devils in that example.
As Phillips plays it and they rumble forward again. It's Wood. In fact, it was Dow. Now they go out to Roberts. Roberts, a good ball there to Saxon Owner, who gets it on his inside. Another offload rig now to Roberts. Roberts finding, guess who? It's Phillips, and he crashes over the captain.
What about that for a try? That is beautiful football. It starts on the right edge, comes back to the left. Paulie Roberts handled twice in that. He put Manton through a hole over on that side. They get the offload back inside. I thought they'd fallen a bit flat in that one, but Alec Reed getting the offload away, and Blake Phillips with some broken field and that close to the line. He's always going to be difficult to stop, although looking over at the far side there, Hammer, it might have come at a bit of a cost. It was Saxon Owner on that side, in fact.
Yeah, he's down. There's a bit of concern shown for him. Might have twisted the leg in getting that offload away. Blake Phillips' first try of the season, would you believe, Mitch Jennings?
There you go. He's usually jagged a couple more than that by this stage of the season. Looking at Paulie Roberts back here too. He looks like he's walking with a bit of a limp as well. Might have copped a bit of a knock, so that play taking a bit of a toll on them. But 4 minutes in to get that opening try of this second half. I think they'll have a bit of a look at that penalty on the video through the week and just show how often in this game we've seen tries come on the back of penalties. Both these sides so good at punishing you if you're not on your game in those little areas.
And on that occasion, it was just the work of Jared Thompson to find his front, and they just couldn't dominate the ball. And now it's Cross with the chance to put them 6 clear, and he does so with consummate ease.
Does that a lot, Jared Thompson. Imagine it's like he's got a magnet on his chest. He always seems to find his front pretty well, Tomo. 2-time premiership winner with this club.
A stalwart, a really liked figure at Collegians.
It's an interesting one. I thought we were seeing Justin Rodriguez coming for a bit of a spell there, but it looks like he's just having a bit of a coach's conference there with Pete McLeod. I would have thought that would have been a bit harsh.
No, you're right. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think it's quite time for the hook yet, but...
we see Saxonona still not back in the line yet. The referee Ryan Jackson having a look there, and he's going to try to make his way back in, but I'm sure you can bet Justin Rodriguez making his way over that side as well. Reece Hambury, those guys will be taking note of that.
And complete opposite start to the second half to what we saw in the first. We saw West shoot out of the blocks, and it's Collegians' turn to come out of the sheds firing. That deep kick-off taken by Cross, and it goes now to the try scorer in Phillips, and he's tackled 9 metres out from his own line.
In the middle, hold 15, 15,
Jack
17,
Cross make that
17.
look. He's going over his head in the sun, and he just catches on the fingertips and just lobs it on to Blake Phillips there.
Move now, 8. Lock in.
Good effort there from the halfback.
Go. 2.
So the Dogs looking to complete after points.
15, hold, go. 3.
Good line speed there from Dixon on that side.
And it was a good tackle too as well on Dowell. It needed to be as Rigg looks to catch the markers napping, and it's his opposite number that gets him around the legs in the end. So that's the last. It goes back to the boot of Boyle, who drills it low. He's found the gap in between winger and fullback, and it's Pello who comes back with it.
Move, Collies, 15!
With a pretty solid welcome party as well.
Pretty courageous carry, wasn't it, from the number when we talk about how good he is at finding space, but he just tucked it under there and went into a couple of forwards, and where's the knock well? Tony Pello there at the back.
Need to hold. Early 9.
Certainly his forte is running around plays, but he's not afraid to go straight up the middle as we see.
Oh, that was Paulie Roberts there clearly got called out by the referee, but as is his way, he couldn't resist just throwing a half a shoulder into it to try to pull him up, and
marched as well.
You can't have a quick
just
another unusual
right.
happening there. But in the context of where the game's at, momentum with the Dogs there, and the penalty to compound it by getting marched 10, the Devils right back on the attack. It'll be disappointing for Nathan Feen. I'm sure he'll be sending John Cross, Steelers great, out there with the fluoro shirt to perhaps just give someone a bit of a clip around the ear and get him to pull their head in.
So Zohar gets the Red Devils on the front foot as the ball goes to Rodriguez, out the back to Pello. He's got one this afternoon. He's looking for a double, but he's 9 metres short on this occasion.
Hold. Go. 2.
Back to Rodriguez, turning it on the inside to Blay. Again, he likes to spin in the tackle. He also put the big right mid out as well. Back to Rodriguez. He's got space to go. He takes it to the line, and he's 8. Make it 6 metres short. Zohar again. Tough to stop, and they do so. Just a metre out. One play up the sleeve for the Red Devils. Trailing by 6. Hanbury going through the hands to Pello. Pello dummies. Oh, sleight of hand. What about that pass? He held it up perfectly, and Joe Dixon crosses in that southwestern corner. 16-14 kick to come.
And yeah, just to mix up defensively there. Jared Boyle on this side, I think he just sunk on the runner. He wasn't getting the call from the inside he wanted from Brodie Rigg there. Brodie Rigg not typically does a lot of defending on the edge and just got caught out by the ball playing there, as you said. Hammer, Tony Pello, outstanding in that one, but you've got to go back to the penalty on penalty that we just saw back here on halfway. A side like the Devils, the reigning premiers, they're going to make you pay in those instances, and they've done just that there.
Tony Pello scored one, now he's set up one. It was just sleight of hand. He looked as if he might pass, straightened up into the line, and a nice hole there from Dixon. Joe Dixon giving Zach Green a chance to, in fact it is, no, it's still Wetherill, so Green's still off the park. In fact, he's just come on. He's just come on, but it will be Wetherill. Let's see if he can strike this ball with more conviction.
Mate, I bet you if it was in front, Green, he'd be kicking it. I'll tell you what, he'd be grabbing the tee off him.
But he's 9 metres in from the southwestern touchline. Wetherill to level the scores. Again, he struck it. And he's got up again. Beautifully.
Well, I'm going to call him the magic man because I thought that missed to the left again. It's staying low. I thought it'd shave the outside, but from where we are, it's gone straight over again. The flags go straight up, never in doubt.
Well, it certainly has a unique style. Let's just say that, but it seems to be working.
Plugs it low. Backing in from everywhere.
And on a day like today, when it's very blustery, Zohar, who's been outstanding since coming on the field.
He has been cheap on that side. It's notable about both these sides, as good as the forward packs are. Not a lot of size in either pack. They're two very mobile packs, so just having a bit of a point of difference, the difference maker to put the big chief on and have him just lumber up, he really does have an impact in these stretches of the games.
So Rodriguez calls for a short side, and he's got through one tackle, and it was only the despairing tackle from Spencer that brings him down. Looking to slow the play the ball down now, the Dogs, as now West get into Collegians half. Hanbury going backwards, looking for support. He's got the mitt free, but just no one behind him.
Numbers left.
That'll be the fifth. Will they run it through the hands? It's a horrible pass from Green, and Pello has to go back, but he almost gets through the gap, and critically he gets caught on the last.
Clever play on this side. A couple of rucks before that, Johnny. Justin Rodriguez, you just saw Jared Boyle had pulled up a little bit lame. I'm not sure what
Old
injury
habits
sort of
I
picked
reckon
up.
that's the third time you've called me Johnny today.
There we go. Sorry, I'm used to the voice of the North.
Move 14!
And a big
hammer.
And a big
sledgehammer.
And a
on
big
this
shout
side.
out to Johnny in the North. That game against Thirroul and Dapto was 12-4 at half time in favour of the Butchers. This will have a big bearing on this one as well.
Right side here, 7 hold. Go.
So now the Dogs on attack. Dow 33 metres out.
Give him room!
29 minutes left in the game. As they go to the short side, it's Ona who's recovered from that earlier injury, and he takes the ball to within 21 of the Red Devils.
Lock in! Right side, hold! Hold!
They play the ball for Roberts. Standing still, and it was Boyle who goes to Phillips. Scored his first try of the season
7 square!
to start their second half.
Absolutely does my head in.
I think
Rant's over, but it does my head in.
I think they need a rugby league school. I think you need to be. I think that needs to be your subject. Teaching these.
I just don't know. How does a player not realise, hasn't seen that penalised 1,000 times,
You're 100% right.
and the white line fever gets them every time? NRL level players do it everywhere. It happens in NRL just about every game you ever watch.
How about off that kick, though? It was. I thought Morrissey had it. It was almost like Pello plucked it out of his hands. But the play goes on, and now it's Dylan Laurie with the football, 10 short of halfway. What a game we're seeing. Here, Pello! Oh, he's straight through. 1-on-1 with Reed. And critically, he manages to slow him down. Pello still going the 1-on-1 strip. Oh, and it's Manton with the clutch play.
Well, I just gave him the biggest spray of all time, and now he's come up with a play like that. Brad Manton, but isn't he dangerous, Tony Pello? And a great effort there from Alec Reid. You would back, in that situation, you'll back Tony Pello against just about anybody. It looked very Damien Cook-like. It was almost a carbon copy of that try from the decider the other night out of dummy half, and Alec Reid did just enough to slow him up and bring him down and let the cover reel him in. And then Brad Manton with a clever play there, the one-on-one, and that hasn't gone out.
Oh, unbelievable.
And speaking of things unforgivable, Paulie Roberts is giving himself a massive spray there. And that is a coach killer.
Isn't it? Morrissey now with the football. 13 short of halfway for West. You don't know where to look. This game has gone up a notch or two, and that will be play on, I suspect. Came off the body, not off the hands. So they're flirting with that eastern touchline, West, but they're just a couple short of that halfway mark. And now Lodge gets it on to Leotigaga, who's backslammed. Question marks over whether it was a little dangerous.
I think it was okay, Hammer.
Called to play on. That was the way the referee saw it as well. Rodriguez, short ball there. Picked it up. Boyle, he's like a thief in the night. Said thank you very much. It was perhaps a little telegraph. Boyle certainly knew what was going on, and a mistake from Spencer. Well, I know that the referees are making a concerted effort not to call knock on every time it hits the deck, but geez, that was very tight.
That was 50-50, but you're right, Hammer. It has gone up a notch here, and you can see the players that are making it happen. Pello, Jared Boyle with that play, Brad Manton, the one-on-one. It's those big moment, big game players that are starting to step up and try to take control of this one. We've still got 25 minutes left. It's going to be an absolute belter down the stretch.
Paul Roberts. And he's lost the ball, but he's got a bit of help now. Decision time. Do you put pressure on, or do you go the two? Still plenty of time left, isn't there?
In this breeze, we'll see. I'm looking at John Cross there. They're going to tap it. It's certainly not a gimme from 30 metres out in these conditions. So there's still so much time left. I think the right move. I think you've got to try to do what the opposition least wants you to do, and I think the Devils in this instance least wanted them to have another crack.
Particularly with quick play, the ball's as Thompson. Look at him driving towards the line. He's only 8 metres short.
Numbers on this left.
Roberts scheming.
It was Johnny Martin there, not risking letting that one get in the end goal because it looked dangerous. Blake Phillips, he just gets the ball, get him on the ground. He's like a mixed martial arts fighter. The takedown defence, incredible. You can't get him on the deck.
That low centre of gravity as well, isn't it? And I mean, he's not one of the biggest forwards going around, but like you said, just so strong. Standing one off.
You need a second roll, West.
They just look like they're finding a gear, don't they, Johnny? Collies there.
Johnny again.
Oh, there we go, Hammer. I'm going to get over it soon. I swear.
That's 4 beers for me.
There's
now Boyle. The ball from Roberts, out to Cross. As the Dogs now with owner. 10 metres out. 16 all, 23 minutes left. It really is set up, isn't it? Wood.
14, getting space, 14.
Centimetres away. Roberts out to his left to Boyle. What a cutout pass that is. 1-on-1 now. And what strength showing.
I think he's got that down where he was.
Ellis trying to get it down.
Looked like he got it down. Ryan Jackson, he was everywhere in that positioning from the referee. He had the view of that. That's great defence by Morrissey on this side. It was a beautiful pass.
You just wonder
by Boyle, Hammer.
You just wonder maybe if the touch judge and the referee were a little quicker getting over there, they would have seen something else, but nevertheless.
He's handy on this edge. He backed himself in there. Hammer, he didn't have a whole lot of room to work with, but a nice little bump and dive into the corner, and he almost got there. I thought he had from our position.
I'm with you on that one. But it certainly was a tough call to make. Bodies everywhere. Now Boyle. Cross. Reid. Oh, he scores! What a try! Gets on the outside, as his opposite number did. a little earlier in the half, and he puts Collegians back in front. I talked about Alec Reid and the season he's having, and it just continues here at Parish Park.
How about just the evolution of, as we touched on a little bit earlier, the evolution of Jack Cross's game as a half on that edge. He's looking every bit the number 7 there this afternoon, as we said earlier. And Alec Reid, he just ran a perfect line there, skipped to the outside. He had numbers on the outside, some indecision in the defence over on that left edge. And a bit like his opposite number, Tony Pell, he doesn't need a lot of space, Alec Reid, to make you pay, and he does just that there. And it's Collies in front again. The topsy-turvy game continues.
It certainly does. We talk about how good Wests are when it comes to shape, but that was really nice from the Dogs. Really nice structure. And quite similar in the way they set up the half out to the fullback out the back, and just using that pace to get on the outside of a defender and just hitting the accelerator button, and away Alec Reid went.
And Hammer, this result's still very much in the balance, but Nathan Fleet's got to be thrilled. We've spoken at length throughout the year when you look at the premiership credentials of all these sides, and Collie's certainly been in that conversation from day one, but you did wonder if too much would fall on the shoulders of Jared Boyle on this left edge. I think he's hobbling or carrying a bit of he's not quite 100% on this edge, Jared Boyle, and ordinarily that'd put Collegians in all sorts, but Jack Cross, he's confident these days calling the ball over on that edge. He's laid on one try for owner with the kick, and now he's put Alec Reid over there.
And Cross with the conversion, another successful one. 6 points the margin. The Dogs looking for the snatch and grab here at Parish Park. And we should mention, we noticed in that centre channel there, Alec Reid found some success, but West missing their 2 first-choice centres. Colby Pello for the season, and Mitch Porter obviously indefinitely with that knee.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those intangible things, isn't it? You build a combination defensively, and as good as both those men are, I said quality replacements to bring in, but haven't defended in the centres a whole lot this season. And in the moments like that, when it only takes a split second, it can become evident, as it did there.
So a shallow kickoff as the Dogs
Move, West!
with their
West,
tails
20.
wagging.
Go.
22-16.
Move, 15!
Saxon
Lock in.
owner
Go.
That's a good carry from the centre.
really getting the team on the front foot, and there's another one.
Great work from the back 5 getting in after that try. Really getting them going forward here.
And in the blink of an eye, they're up into the Red Devils' half.
Help! Move now. Go.
This is a real test now for the Premiers.
Last tackle. Right side.
5th and last. 30 to go for the Dogs.
Good.
The ball just dabbed in behind into no man's land.
Backward.
Maybe a little bit of a bobble there, but good work by Dixon. He dived on the football.
Good heads-up play there from the back row, and I think that did go backwards. It was going towards the other try line, so good call from the referee there. Jared Boyle, they gave him plenty of time to kick though there in Hammer. He really want to give him more pressure when he's trying to kick the ball than that. He had a whole bunch of time to sum that up. And he kick takes a little bit of a deflection. Had it not, it was in there into no man's land and looking pretty dangerous. That's something the Devils will want to look at with 19 minutes left to play in this one.
So we saw Morrissey take the first hit up at the set, and on that occasion it was Weatherall. This back three needs to get involved and really help the West side get out of trouble.
Ooh, and that'll be...
That's dangerous. Thompson
Walk that way.
losing control of the tackle.
Look at that Kyle Lodge. He got up there ready to go and said, oh, no, it's the world's nicest man, Jared Thompson. I won't do anything there. He was ready to go.
Yeah,
but that one definitely, there's been a few 50-50s. That one definitely a penalty above the perpendicular, and that's a relieving one for the Devils.
Well, it was good to see that he didn't land on his head, because there could have been a different course of action taken. Landed safely enough, but a penalty sufficient. And it gives the Red Devils a sniff as they trail by 6. We're into the final quarter of this one here. The top of the table clash. You're watching it on Bar TV. Hope you're enjoying wherever you are watching. Another penalty for the Red Devils.
Against.
Oh, it is too.
And look, they're ready to go. Kieran Rankmore, he's a guy who won't back down. I think it's Zach Hicks over the side, the youngster.
Walk away. Walk away.
If you don't bite off too much, you can chew there, Hammer.
I'd be on the paint still.
Do you see there? It's those ones you look back and I don't mind seeing them. That's what they always say. In under 6s, they teach you how to play the ball properly. But in a game that's so evenly and tightly poised here, dare we say, pedantic penalties can really have a big impact.
Well,
Not a good view of it from where we are. Referee Ryan Jackson a much better view, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, and looks like he's having a bit of a chat to the skippers as well as tempers start to flee. You can tell it's a big one, Hammer.
I'd love to see the tail of the tape of whether we've seen a few of those play the balls, or whether that is an anomaly, and whether that was deserving of a penalty.
Well, you can look at the reaction there from Justin Rodriguez. I know his feelings on the matter. You also, look, in fairness, Hammer, you also don't want to see 10 penalties for play the balls on the run either. So
it's a balancing act that the referees.
It normally has to be a real dog's breakfast for him to call, and perhaps that's what Ryan Jackson saw there.
That lets the dogs off the hook. They lead by 6. Thriller on your Saturday afternoon. Match of the round for the Illawarra Rugby League competition.
9, give him room!
Down,
Right side,
struggling,
hold!
wrestling
Hold!
with Green, fighting to get up and play the ball. He eventually does. It's Thompson with it now. Super impressive yet again. He finds his front, looking for the quick play the ball.
They're really finding a gear here through the middle of these Collegians forwards. They're lifting towards the stretch.
Move 9!
The home stretch of this one.
Lock in!
Hammer.
Pen here, hold.
Almost called you Johnny again, but I pulled myself up.
Forward.
We'll let that play on with that one.
And I think Ryan Jackson has the whistle close to his mouth here. I think they'll say
Oh, here we go.
Paulie
This is
Roberts
2 points.
collected, and you'll think they'll definitely take the 2 from here to make it an 8-point ball game. Paulie Roberts still down in back play. I'm not sure who the Devils player is there. It was I know it was Zach Green that came together with Paul Roberts. I'm not sure who the Devils player on the deck is.
It's just a really unnecessary penalty to give late in the count.
I actually think it's Tony Pella that might be down. No, he's at the back there.
Let's have a look. And
It is Greeny. So the 2 men that came together there, they've both come off a little bit worse for wear from that collision.
But a really poor penalty to give in the context of the game. But right in front, 16 and a half minutes left. You're down by 6. You've just got to grind it out. You've got to see out the set. I mean, that was probably the 5th tackle.
He could draw it out here, Hammer. Paulie Roberts, he's such a competitor. Loves every minute of the fight out there, and perhaps Zach Green there, he could have maybe put into that one late, but just wanted to give that little bit because that's the sort of competitors both those 2 gentlemen are.
Absolutely. Well, we know Paul Roberts can give away a penalty, but he can also attract them because he's that sort of player.
He's just always in the thick of the action, Hammer. There's always something happening around him.
I love watching him. One of my favourite players in the competition to watch.
But we will see the 2 of the T's out there on the ground, so we're left in no doubt as to what's going to happen there. 16 minutes to go in this one. I'd have been staggered if they hadn't. Look for the 2 points there, and Greeny back to his feet. Good to see.
But I think critically he will go off. He's not the wellest of human beings, and it'll be John Martin coming on in the 14.
Hammer, isn't it incredible the way this breeze has died down? I was expecting it to really amp up as we went down the stretch in this one, but it's still gently blowing here, but it's not anywhere near like it was at the start of the game.
I'm ready to get the deck chair out here on the roof. And
have they got one here? Have they got the deck chair lying around here somewhere?
yeah,
We can get Matty Ray's deck chair from down here.
yeah, we're just having a look to the west official to our left here. Looks like they get onto it.
It'll be the last little cherry on top of the Parish Park media box. We get the Coke Zeros, we get the banter, access to all the stats. If we could have the deck chair as well, you wouldn't get me to another game. I think the only cocktails they make at Parish Park, mate, yeast and hops.
As Collies do opt for the kick, that was a bit of a no-brainer. 22-16, 16 minutes, 15 seconds left.
Dare I say some pressure on this one though, Hammer? You could. These are the tough ones, aren't they? The ones that matter so much in a game. The way he's kicked them this afternoon, surely he'll knock this one over. I'm backing him in.
Crossing our fingers and toes that you haven't put the mocker on him.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, that's bread and butter for Cross.
Never in doubt.
1
16. But from what we've seen, Mitch Jennings, it's by no means, not by any stretch, the end of the chapter.
Certainly not the end of the chapter, but it's big. An 8-point buffer in the way this game has played out and the way games between these two sides have played out in the past. An 8-point margin. We've seen the scores locked 3 times this afternoon. 4 all, 10 all, 16 all. So finally someone's managed to put back-to-back points on it
Time you're on,
for the
West.
first time this afternoon with 15 minutes to go.
Time it.
Yep, biggest
Could
lead
be
of
the telling
match.
one.
That one high and floating. It was a good one from Pello, but again, well navigated by Collies.
Move west,
They
15.
set 20 metres
Go.
out.
1. Move now.
A little
Lock
bit
in,
of the
right side,
pace
hold.
and the sting out of the game
Hold.
with that delay. Obviously, Zach Green going off the
Clear it
park
west.
with what you
West.
suspect
Wait
is
for
perhaps a
you.
concussion
Hold.
of some sort.
Well, there's only one sword hammer.
Move now.
That there he is
Thompson.
Thompson.
15.
And his opposite number, Cole Lodge, come to terms just shy of halfway. Now the
Last
Dogs in the
tackle.
west half.
20 square.
Another good set
You're good.
after points.
Okay, good.
Boyle's
Come
kick
down.
charge
Play
down.
that,
This will be
still
6
up.
again, you'd think, if
Still
they
up.
can.
No, it's
go
still
up
the
with
last
pill.
they're saying, Johnny.
They've
Now
lost
it's-
the football. This is on for West now.
Move now. 10 6.
What was looking like a pretty good set for Collies, it was an awful end. And hit. Oh no, it's come apart and Rankball's lost the football. Pello was smashed.
Put that down to Alec Reid, mate. He came right up there on his opposite number. Tony Pello was sort of drifting across there and at half pace and in no man's land looking for a runner. The only one who really went up a notch and was really giving 100% to that play was Alec Reid, the number 1, and he forces the error there. You've got to say now the way it's gone out, 2 outstanding number 1s, but that might just put his nose slightly in front and what's a neck-and-neck race there.
Make sure you hold with a touch charge. Right
There
there.
was a charge down or a deflection,
Head
and then
down,
West
Collie.
getting that golden
Arms
opportunity,
around.
and
Yeah,
then
let's go, 7.
first tackle,
Out.
they looked a little lost. And now the Dogs really looking to turn the screws. Well, that one had a bit of help out, did it? No, it didn't.
Lost it.
Judging from Brad Mann's reaction, I think it was a knock-on. He hasn't got up there blowing up about that. So
No,
judging
yeah.
by the reaction, I don't think it did get any help.
Yeah, he looks pretty disappointed. So that was good defence by West.
We are on the line, Collies.
He's got a pretty good poker face though, Brad Mann. He doesn't really express much.
He probably knows that despite all his protests, he won't change the referee's
Let's
decision.
tack down, Collies. Tack down, West. Make
Good
sure you hold
numbers in the
down,
tackle
Cole.
by West. This is their chance.
Out.
Now Hanbury. Out to Tamari. Away from 1.
16.
He's 30 metres out.
Here, hold.
I have to think he'll have a say in some things here this afternoon, Hammer. He's been quiet by his lofty standards on that side, as we say. He's a position, he's a slot to the left out there to what he normally would be in the centres, but an absolute class player out there if they can get him some footy.
Hanbury to Rodriguez to Pello, and now it is Weatherall now. 5 metres out.
Move now.
To
Heads away.
usher him towards that southwestern touchline.
Just as I said that before, Johnny, this breeze is howling.
Rodriguez, a long ball to Pello, who drifts across field looking to pick up rank ball,
Stand.
who was running straight and hard. Now Martin out to Pello at first receiver. He goes out the back to Hanbury. He dummies. He gets away from 1 tackle. An offload out the back there to Lodge. Lodge now drifting across field, looking for a gap, and roped in by Boyle. Getting some help from
Flag
Phillips.
square.
5th tackle, they've got numbers to the right. That's the way they go. Rodriguez puts it on the boot. Again, a kick that's foul
Should be
leg.
6 again, it was played
Pello
at.
looking for a gap now. He gets out of 1. He slips, and that is the end of the passage.
No, Hammer, with a good view of that one, that 100% should have been 6 again. Definitely a foot went out there. So that's one that goes Collie's way.
Go on the other side of the field, and the sun's in his face.
They were right up, sweating on Justin Rodriguez there. He wasn't going to get an easy kick into the in goal there. And like I said, Hammer, this breeze now has just picked up. I'm even putting the mock on the wind.
Release now, 7.
So the rub of the green going
Leave
the
it,
Dogs'
7.
way.
Leave it. Go.
As West try to muscle up. Rodriguez in there with
Move now.
Dixon
Straight away,
and
7.
Lodge.
Lock in 7 hole. Go.
Finding it tougher going to get out of their own red zone this set, the
14.
Dogs.
Clear him. Go. 3.
Roberts now looking for a 40-20. Having to get his skates on as Pello. Doesn't get a kind bounce, but it sits up eventually.
Good kick regardless, Hammer.
And look at that, Pello just slicing through.
Just
How
like
good
that.
is he? Look at him go, just gliding through, and a good tackle coming in eventually.
Brilliant, just brilliant, Hammer. His forwards and his big men were really slowly coming back to that one. They were walking back some hands on hips, and they just watch him run back past them in the other direction. That's a play that lifts you.
And he's giving his side a sniff. Rank ball now, marching his way towards the 30. 10 minutes left. Has to be soon, you'd have to think. Leah Tiagaga. Offload away to Lodge. Lodge carrying Boyle with him. They've got numbers if they want to go to the right, but Martin with a...
Thought he'd taken the ball in there, Alec Reid, but he'll get up to play it.
They get another chance. Rodriguez again trying to dab a kick through, and it's knocked on by West.
No, I think it took the first deflection there off Collegians.
He's called it Collies first.
I think there was a hand stuck out there. I don't think it was Jared Boyle pinged for the knock on there. I think it was the first deflection it took.
Yeah, deemed to be off the hand, so they'll get another set. But
If it's not the case, perhaps a bit of justice there.
you have to just question the kick option on the last. It a couple of times. I know he's trying to thread it through, but
Wouldn't be surprised to see them perhaps go aerial on the next one. Although the two wingers Collegians have got on both edges, Lucio and Joy Ellis, very adept in the air.
so Hanbury to Pello. Pello looking to get on the outside of his man, and Tamari.
That'll be 6 to go again.
Stuff. Pello roped around the legs. He gets up and goes again. Not held. And they're only 8 metres out. West down by 8. Tamari again.
Well, they're definitely trying to go in through the front door here, Hammer.
Pello at first receiver. He's standing still. Rankball tries to spark something, but they were flat-footed on that occasion. It was easy for the Dogs to adjust there. Martin goes to his right. Rodriguez goes short. It's Dixon looking for a double, but he's wrapped up at close quarters by the defence.
Just a tad flat there, Hammer.
Rodriguez, Rankmore, out wide to Hanbury. He cuts out. Now it goes out there to Tamari again.
Great defence, Saxonana.
Crossfield. It's too easy for Collies at the moment. Short side, looking to catch them napping, but they don't. What defence by the Dogs, and they snuff out that play with 7 minutes 50 left.
Brilliant defence, Hammer. You can count 2 or 3 really crucial tackles made there. And Saxonana, that was great work on that side with Joy Ellis on that edge. Will Tamari, they showed him the outside a little bit, as we said a bit earlier on. He'll back his pace against most centres, Saxonana. Joy Ellis, he got it right there. He stayed out on his winger, and Saxonana good enough to reel in Will Tamari. And obviously Reece Hanbury there having to go from dummy half. He almost got there as well, but they bundled him into touch, and you just sense that's going to give them a huge lift here. 7 minutes left, up by 8.
We're not used to saying this, Mitch Jennings, but they look a little lost in attack. They don't have that same fluency, and they don't seem to be running those same lines that we're so accustomed to them running.
Yeah, it's just looked a little bit flat. Just standing up a little bit too close to the footy on both edges of the ruck there. And like I said, trying to go in the front door. Tony Pello's still the man that looks most dangerous. Every time he touches the footy, he looks like the man that could turn it for the Devils. We saw in the decider the other night in State of Origin, 7 minutes is plenty of time for things to happen.
Plenty of time when you have a Pello in your team, that's for sure. So the Dogs win the scrum feed.
Even more when you got 2, but they've only got the 1 today, but pretty handy nonetheless.
Which I'm sure Nathan Feen was breathing a sigh of relief about. And Novich Porter as well, who's another X-Factor play that Wests are missing today. Let's not forget that they are missing some personnel, but same with Collies.
And there it is.
I understand he was falling.
We'll see what that one is for. I think they've penalised Dixon there, saying he's come in a little bit
High over the top, perhaps.
Go that way.
Maybe that swinging arm. I'm not sure. I didn't certainly detect anything.
We haven't got the referee's mic up here in the box to hear the clarification on that one.
You might have a better idea if you're listening or watching at home.
He hasn't blown it. He only blew the penalty.
Just see that breeze coming.
Staying on 13.
picking up here, but 8 points is starting to look like a bigger and bigger margin as the clock ticks down.
Well, it's very interesting because the Dogs navigated that attacking raid in their own red zone. West have looked most dangerous from long range, where we talk about Pello, those kick returns, he's slicing them open. It's that tired chase, but when they're up there, they just seem a little pedestrian, a little lost.
We can see they'll need to try to finish this off strongly here, Hammer. They can't just simply go through the motions in this set. They're going to need to try to get a repeat or get some points on the end of it. And I just saw as they were marching up the park for that penalty, Jared Boyle was absolutely barking instructions at his troops to get them into the positions they need to be. Perhaps didn't like what he saw as some lackadaisical thinking or some cues going in the rack. He was right into his side there, and Kyle Lodge, well, he's making friends with the entire forward pack out there at the moment.
Certainly a bit of niggle starting to creep.
And we see it again, and there he goes, and Paulie Roberts has seen that one, and they're not happy.
It's on now for
You got
young
the
and
penalty,
old.
you got the penalty, Josh! You got the penalty!
And they're still going on the deck there,
Really
White,
getting
you got the
heated.
penalty!
and they're right into it here.
White, you
Dylan
got
Maury
the
and Spencer
penalty!
over here in the background.
Oh.
Matchups all over the park, Hammer.
Geno, it looked like it was going to be a good old-fashioned all-in, but I think out of all that, they came in and came flying in, but I don't think there were any punches thrown out of all of that.
I didn't see any. It was like I said, Kyle Lodge. He had a bit of a verbal exchange there with Blake Phillips. Then he had one with Jared Thompson on the back of it as well.
Well, I think.
And then whoever was the man with the tackle, he wasn't happy with him either.
Well, I think amid all the excitement that was happening, I think maybe something in Kyle Lodge's head he's going, well, no, that'll be the game if I throw a punch here and we're down to 12.
It's a big game, mate, between two guys. You could see plenty of people there. They had to basically have their hands in the pockets. There were some guys that wanted to go there. These two sides, the competitive nature of both.
What do you do here? Do you keep them on the field? Do you just say, cool it, boys, or do you give them a little bit of an early shower?
Mate, you know my take on that, Hammer. It's not always the best one, but I say give them a chat and they'll move on. So Lodge will go and report for the shot, I think.
Yeah.
So he'll go and report for the swinging arm, but no other.
I think that was handled well. You'd hate to see with 4.5 minutes left anyone go to the bin.
And are they going to take the two? Here they are. It was an interesting one with 4 to go. 8 to 10 points.
I think
Doesn't always seem like a whole lot, but with 4 minutes left, choose some time off the clock, hopefully nab some other points, but it does put the pressure back on you at your own end to complete the next set.
Well, West will, by the time this kick is taken and by the time they affect the kick-off, they'll have 3 minutes to score twice. It's certainly possible, but it's very, very improbable. And so the right rein pulled here by Nathan Feen. And
I also think with what we just saw, Johnny, some of the boys getting a bit hot under the collar and some sting really coming into the match. Not a bad move from Nathan Feen to just go out there and let's have a stoppage, let's kick the goal and just get everyone calmed down again to finish this one off.
So cross, 19 metres out, almost directly in front, and it's another goal, 26-16. So 5 out of 6 today for Jack Cross with the boot. It's been an impressive display after that ugly early miss. And West now with it all to do with 3 minutes 43 left. Short kick off. But it won't go the 10, so that'll be the ball game.
In fact, it won't even go 1. Tough day to try to pull those kicks off. Tony Pello, he just cracks a bit of a wry grin.
Wait.
Didn't quite get that one right.
Well, they get
Penalty
through
on
this
halfway.
set. Well, they get through this set, Collegians. That's it.
And I think Paulie Roberts, he's failed to find touch once, so he was going to look for Jared Boyle's come over and said, no thanks, mate, I'll be taking this one. And he's going to make sure it'll almost go backwards, I think, as long as he can get out into touch. He doesn't quite go that route, but he puts it into the back fence over there.
So, Collegians on the verge of a massive win as far as their not only finals hopes, but top 2 hopes. It has to be said. It's throwing the door right open, and depending on how the rule goes today, they could be sitting on top. Could be a 3-way goal.
Lock in!
We're not done with here. The 10-point margin might be just about pretty paid to the result, but the boys are trying to shorten a few up. These sides will meet again, you would think, at some stage
You're an optimist.
in the bigger games, and they're They're leaving their mark.
Well, if this is a taste of what we can see come August, September, well, bring it on. Short side they go. Roberts, Boyle, look to his outside. Morrissey came up and prevented him from getting it to his winger there in Ellis.
I think ultimately well held there from Boyle. The last thing you want to do is throw an intercept or something there and give them any sniff. And Paulie Roberts just dumping Kyle, and he gives him a bit of a spray afterwards, and there'll be plenty of boys getting involved. Again, as I said, there's still plenty going on in this one.
Oh, you could see that coming.
And they're right
from a
amongst
mile
it.
off. As the moment you saw,
And we see.
as the moment you saw Collegians wind up and.
Don't you love this? Look at, I love to see this. Paulie Roberts has come in there. He's put Kyle Lodge on his back and given him a bit of verbal. Started the fracas, and here he is back here at the 10-metre line, just having a laugh at the boys.
Leave it.
Yep, he's
As we said, the ultimate competitor.
Walk away.
certainly
Go that way. Go that way. Get back.
They're all getting amongst it here.
Go that way.
The clock's still running, so we haven't had time off yet.
Wait. Get him to go that way. Go that way.
So this could be just about it. If we don't see play, the clock stopped. It might be just about all she wrote.
You could be right there. It should be a goal line dropout unless there's...
Still yet to blow time off.
This is a bit of a farce, surely. I mean, it was two boys, you know, letting off some steam.
And there we go. So it's well, that will be a Johnny, and this is a massive win in the context of the seasons for Collegians. They were so desperately close to both Rule and West in the first round of the competition. Went down by 2 and by 1. And easily to think they were just a little bit off the pace. Nathan Feen's comments to me at the time were, we're running third for a reason. Just not quite good enough in the big games, but they've turned it around. The win over Thirroul by 6 at home a couple of weeks ago. Now to come to Parish Park and get a win over the defending premiers, that's just going to do a world of good for their confidence, and we're still seeing some verbal sparring.
And just to make a comment on that, I think one thing you could say about Collies this year, they may not have the big names that they did last year, but they just look more a galvanised unit, don't
So we
they?
see Spencer getting his marching orders there.
An early shower, I don't think you'll mind that. Get the head start.
Now, they certainly do look very galvanised, you're right though, Hammer. They're a young side without the big recruitment drive we sometimes typically see from Collegians. Obviously the state of play is different this year with salary caps and the like, and now Dylan Laurie, he's getting severe now. He's no stranger to that as well.
That was
and
coming
you want to
for
get
about 5 minutes.
You'd want to get the trainers there to walk him off, but I think he's been pretty measured in it there. Dylan Laurie. It's not. Let's be honest. It's not the first time he's made such a walk. But the penalty will go to the Devils there.
Wait. He's still on the field.
With 56 seconds left on the clock, they'd need more than Mark Coyne's miracle try to get out of this one. Tony Pello, though, he's going to try to pinch.
Well, he is the man to do
Some
it
points,
if
and he's
they
going to
are
try to have the
do it.
last say.
And Pello, he tackles himself.
Up now, 7!
He's been that good this afternoon.
He's about the only
He's
one.
just about the only one who can bring himself down.
Absolutely. My thoughts exactly.
Maybe him and Alec Reed. They're the only two on the park that
Get up. Just get up.
Well, do they have one last say in them?
can. And they're into it again here in the back play. Phillips and Lodge have come together.
Go back here.
So this
Ball bouncing.
It bounces awkwardly. That looked like a knock-on off West. And that will be
And I'm asking, can we just add 10 more minutes to the clock? I'm loving this, the way this game has gone down the stretch.
Well,
He's a man of ethics, Woodsy. He's not going to do that. We're going to see the who to go. But I would love to have seen... Let's come back next week and just have the rematch straight
let's
away.
do it.
What a
Don't
game
wait
it's
till
been.
finals. Let's come back here next week. But what a pulsating round 11 clash. Collegians. They avenged their round 1 or round 3 loss, I should say, to Collegians. Or to West, I should say. But the Dogs getting the money this afternoon. It was a fiery end to what was a really quality game of football, Mitch Jennings.
Indeed, Hammer. I tell you, we haven't seen the last of this rivalry and these two teams going at it. A hell of a game befitting a top of the table clash. As I said, a monstrous win in the scheme of the season for Collegians. Corey Hammond, not Johnny Pett, Corey Hammond. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon. A big thank you to our broadcast partners, the University of Wollongong and to McDonald's. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did here at the ground. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you out there next week somewhere in the Illawarra.